What is up, guys? Adrian here from Losh TV, and you're wondering why you can't see me? I am again trying something a little bit more different this time around for my HHN speculation. Today, if you read the title, you got it right. Today we're going to be discussing the possibility of having Halloween Horror Nights located back at Islands of Adventure. But before we start this video, I want you guys to do me a huge favor. If you guys haven't checked out my last speculation, please go ahead and do so. I actually discussed the different IPs and originals that I think can show up at the event, along with the potential of new locations. So if you guys want to check that out, please go ahead. This one is strictly about Islands of Adventure or Islands of Fear. So with all that being said, let's roll that intro. Now, before diving into Islands of Adventure's history with Halloween Horror Nights, I want you guys to do me a huge favor, and that will be liking this video and subscribing if you guys can please do so. Also, comment down below some of the things you really want to see at Horror Nights this year, whether it be an IP, an original, or where you want Horror Nights to be. Do you want it to be at Islands? Do you want it to be at Universal? Do you want it to be at both parks? Do you want it at Volcano Bay? Do you really? Are you sure about that? Anyways, let's dive into the history of Halloween Horror Nights at Islands of Adventure. Now, the Islands of Adventure Park opened in 1999. However, the first Halloween Horror Nights to be featured at this park wasn't until 2002, and that was the Islands of Fear. Now, the following year would do the same thing, bring in the director for 2003's event. Then in 2004, they shook it up a little bit by moving it to both parks, trying to figure out what your breaking point was. Then in 2005, we got the Year of the Terror Queen that was covered up by the Year of the Storyteller. And then back in 2016, we're back to Universal Studios Florida, and that's where we've been to this day. Now, potentially, can we go back to Islands of Adventure? Logistically, I say no, but with the rumors that are out there and everything that's possible, I feel like it's good to bring up this discussion and this speculation because we never know what can occur. Now, you're probably sitting there wondering, Adrian, where'd you find these rumors, or what are you talking about? Are you crazy? Are you just pulling stuff out of your rear end? No, I am not crazy, although all of us Horror Nights speculators technically are a little crazy because we can never be 100% accurate. First things first, Halloween Horror Nights back in December decided to put out a tweet that put everyone in a buzz. They tweeted, and I quote, "We used to be a country, a proper country." And with that, they put a picture of Islands of Fear, which got all of Horror Nights Twitter to go a little batshit crazy to see if maybe this was actually going to happen. Now, this started stirring the pot, and we know that there were a lot of back and forth jokes between the Universal Orlando Twitter page and the Halloween Horror Nights Twitter page, and it's just fun to poke at the bear, but who knows, this could potentially be leading to this actually happening. Now, before discussing the potential locations for Islands of Fear, if it would be coming back, we need to discuss the fact that I kind of brought up some of the house locations that can be used back in my last speculation video. I mentioned it earlier. If you guys haven't checked it out, go ahead and check it out. However, anyways, we can use some of those sound stages that I discussed in that video because the sound stages were used in the past for this event. Now, some other locations that were used were the Carnage Warehouse, which resides right behind Dr. Doom's Fearfall. There's also the Popeye and Bluto's Q, Thunder Falls Terrace, which is actually a full-on restaurant, which they've used as a house before. They just completely closed it down and put up the walls. I find that so cool. And finally, probably the least likely out of all these to be used again if there were to be an event over at Islands, Poseidon's Fury, due to the fact that it's completely getting a refurbished right now and will be opening this month. So I can see them bringing a 10-house event to Islands of Adventure if everything's done properly. They can use anywhere between 3 to 6 sound stages and have Carnage's Warehouse, Popeye's Q, Thunder Falls Terrace, and there's your event. That's 9. So they can put a sprung tent somewhere, potentially, and something of that sort. They can make it work. So I'm not gonna lie, we've actually gotten a Scarezone in Islands of Adventure in the last few years, and that is the Death Eaters over in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. Now, it's not a full-on Scarezone, but it does give you the vibes of a Scarezone, so I'm gonna count that as one of our Scarezone locations. Let me tell you the other ones that could potentially happen. Those are obviously the Port of Entry, Toon Lagoon, Jurassic Park, Lost Continent, and Seuss Landing. Now, I know that's at least 6 to 7 Scarezones, which is pretty huge, realistically, and I think that can happen, but I see if they put the event in Islands, I see this more as a roaming horde type of ordeal than Scarezone, due to the fact that they have a lot of day guests coming into the park, unlike back in the early 2000s. It's a huge difference, but we could potentially see those Death Eaters in the Wizarding World. That's something that I can key in for sure if Horror Nights comes to Islands. Now for show locations, sadly, I cannot tell you that there could be a Lagoon show because I am not sure how they can do a show with the Lagoon. Now, they possibly can if they really plan it out and they get it ready, but I give you 2 stage shows and a potential third. The 2 locations that I'm thinking off the top of my head are Toon Lagoon Amphitheater and the 8th Voyage of Sinbad, which are 2 fantastic stages that can be utilized for the event. The Toon Lagoon Amphitheater has been sitting abandoned forever, and the Sinbad show hasn't been open in about 2 years, almost no longer than that. It's been about 4 years now. Crazy, but we just let things sit forever. Why not use it for Horror Nights, you know? And then the potential third show that I'm saying is more of a stage that they build up. They kind of do these things for Mardi Gras. They did it for AOV back in the day, so it could be a potential location. Instead of them using Sinbad and Toon Lagoon, they'd be using Sinbad and this stage, or Toon Lagoon and this stage. See what I mean, more or less? It's pretty cool, pretty different. Now, like I said way earlier in the video, the potential of the icons coming back is pretty out there. We can have the Caretaker coming back to claim the Islands of Fear. We can have Cindy take over the Islands of Fear for the first time ever. We can have the Storyteller give us a brand new telling of the Terror Queen, or something brand new as well. We can also have something completely brand new. Some kind of like Island Skipper, Demented Island Skipper. Who knows? Maybe something like that. I know it's crazy and out of left field, but don't be opposed to it. That's what I think. I think the icons could potentially come back if they go back to Islands. It's a huge possibility. Now that I've given you my opinion on the house location, Scarezone location, show location, and the potential of there maybe being an icon, what do I personally think about Horror Nights going to Islands of Adventure if it can? And if it does? If it does, fantastic. I'm a Horror Nights fan through and through. I will go. I will enjoy this. However, I was never able to experience this back in the early years. I didn't start attending till the early 2010s. And there's a lot of fans just like myself that started attending recently, some way more recent than others, but we all love the event the same. I'm pretty sure we would all love to experience HHN at Islands. However, I feel as if it would be a lot better for all of us if it's a 2-park event rather than just having it only at Islands or only at Universal. I know we're so accustomed to having it only at Universal. The foot traffic will be a killer, but I feel like this can be a phenomenal way to run the event, and it's a huge possibility. Never count it out. Anything is possible, and that goes for IPs, that goes for location, that goes for where the event will be held, because who knows, 5 years from now, maybe the event's held at Epic Universe. Maybe it's still at Universal. No one really knows. Only Creative will know. So time will tell. This is our second speculation video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Comment down below what you would like to see next. Subscribe if you guys already haven't done so. And stay excellent, my dudes.